welcome back to Phillip Island and the world-class facility riders the world over call their favourite track. Now, have you ever wondered what goes on around the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship? Got any questions you'd like answered? Well, the easiest way is to visit the website and ask away. Go to asbk.com.au, click on the Got Questions tab and send us a short note with what you'd like to know, and we'll get the riders to do their best to enlighten you.
The power difference, but the 600 you can go around the corners a lot faster, but the definitely the 1000 goes down the straights a lot faster, so I enjoy riding both. Believe it or not, it's McDonald's. I have it every Friday night except race weekends, so it's a thing that I've always done and I hope to always do.
I've just started in the Formula V series this year, and again, it's just happened to work out that, you know, Dunlop are their control tyres as well, and I guess it gives me a little bit more of an appreciation for it, working for the brand. It just means I, you know, have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about the technology that goes into the tyres. Depending on the weather and how the track goes and everything, we can get through maybe about 400 or 500 over an event weekend. Dunlop's been around for over 100 years, and you know, we've always been involved in every kind of level and category of motorsport, and to be associated with, you know, the pinnacle of Australian motorcycle racing, it's a fantastic partnership, and I think it works really well both ways.
Yeah, I think Natasha's going to put a fresh face to Dunlop. I can see she wants to get involved from every level. We've had her working here, helping us with fitting and balancing tyres and everything, and she's taken to it with a lot of enthusiasm.
I'd like to hopefully get the opportunity to be one of the first females with a full-time ride in V8 supercars. You know, ever since I was a little girl, I've had no influence through family in motorsport, so it's all kind of, I've always been a bit of a tomboy and grew up around a group of guys, so Formula One's a passion, but realistically, if I was to make it into you know, a professional series in Australian motorsport, I'd like to be able to see how I go with V8s.
She's very keen.
I've got a road bike that I do ride on recreationally. If I can get a bit of a mentor or a coach to help me get over, you know, a couple of fears going down the straight at 300 kilometres an hour, then I might consider it. But yeah, I think I'll just stick to 4 wheels right now and leave the 2 wheels for social riding down the coast.
Now, don't forget to check out our website, asbk.com.au, for all the latest news from the 2011 Viking Group Australian Superbike Championships. All right, well, the riders and their machines are back on the starting grid for race 2 of the QBE Supersport Championship. Let's now hand it back over to Aaron and Kevin for the start.
Well, Jess, track conditions a little bit different for this second race for the QBE Australian Supersport Championship. Kev, it's a little bit wet.
Yeah, same grid, as you can see there, shiny track, and boys are on the same tyres as they'd use in the dry, so no options of wets because they're on treaded tyres anyway.
Kev Curtin leads the way down towards turn 1. Brodie Waters, the race 1 winner, looking to the outside, but Aaron Gobert, he was a bit of a quiet achiever in that first race earlier on, and he's achieving already down at Southern Loop. And
this is what the changing conditions can do, is bring up someone to the front that wouldn't either normally be there or you know, he wasn't quite there in race 1, but it could be someone from midfield or towards the back of the pack that could win this one at the end.
We talk so much in car racing, bike racing, about dry setups and wet setups. When it rains, apart from the tyre change that you can make in other categories, what do you actually change on the bike?
Most of the riders just usually like to soften off the suspension a little bit, just make it a little bit more supple, especially around the island.
The run through Siberia back towards the other end of the circuit, pretty much the same conditions from over at the pit straight to around to this part of the track, so it's always more difficult when the track's a bit different in different areas.
Yeah, half wet, half dry is much more of a problem when it's pretty much the same all the way around. We'll dry off the top of Lukey Heights a little bit earlier just because simply the water is taken over by gravity and runs down the hill quicker. Then you'll get, sometimes you can get pooling. You can see there just a little bit thicker on the entry into MG there.
Gobert clearing away, nice margin And just behind, that is a great move there. Rick Olsen and Nicholas Waters. But Gobert leading the way, and if anything, actually pulling away.
Looks like he settled out in front there and pulling a good gap. Got nothing to worry about by riders breathing down his neck. Second in line, Kev Curtin, then Christian Casella on the Triumph. Which
was not quite in the pace of race 1 on the dry track, but when the water comes down, the Triumph turns on. It's through to second spot.
The 3-cylinder tool give him a little bit, probably a torquier drive off the turn, so quite possibly a little bit more traction in these conditions off the turns. But he looks like he's the one, Christian Casella, charging the hardest out of the field after Gobert, who's got, you know, about a probably 2.5, 3 second lead.
Oh, bike down in the background. Off goes Rick Olsen. The Yamaha is in the sand at Southern Loop.
A little bit too hard into first apex of Southern Loop and lost the front and just tipped it over and trying to get going. Took the dead man switch off his wrist there. Can see he's trying to hang on to it. He's hopeful of keeping going, getting it back upright, but he's spotted something broken and she's all over for him at this stage. Anyway, Marshall's giving him a hand to get the thing back upright. Then in the next challenge is to get out of the gravel heap.
Or just walk away from it and give it up.
He's already made his mind up. He was just helping the Marshals out, but now they've got to try and get it through that gravel because it'll be deemed to be in a dangerous part there.
And also one Yamaha down, Brody Waters off at Hayshed. This is a fast place to go. He won't pop back out the other side until there's a bit of clear road, but he's cost himself a pile of pace and places and probably needs a trip to the dry cleaners.
Yeah, through the Hayshed he's ran off there and come back on just before Lukey, so yeah, very tricky, that situation where you're barreling towards the riders coming across the front of you over the top of Lukey. That can happen down in Southern Loop as well, and very trepidous situation and fraught with danger, especially in these conditions when the grass is so wet and you're a passenger on the bike at that point.
Kev Curtin back down the inside on Christian Casella. This is the fight for second. Gobert's managed to just clear away. Great to see Yamaha back full-time in this championship this year. 2 bikes here this weekend. Here's the QBE replay. Has the biggest lose that doesn't turn into a lose but could have been a lose.
Brilliant work, and managed to stay on it, and only just. There was absolutely nothing in that, but Brody Waters got away with that one, and good luck to him.
You reckon he was surprised he was still on it?
Yeah,
definitely.
Sure.
And look at them all fire on by. Back to the front, Kev Curtin in second spot. There's our leader, Aaron Gobert. His top 3 have adapted best to the conditions. And the other thing too, we talked about wet setups for bikes, but what do you change riding-wise? You need the visibility. You don't want the visor to fog up. You don't want to get wet, and you don't want to dump the bike like that either.
Exactly, and that can happen. You have visibility problems, which can lead to mistakes. You know, water running down the inside of the visor or the visor fogging up, and yeah, you'll end up with the grass around your foot pegs.
Dylan Maven's the man who is on the deck. The number 30 Honda, bit of a mind of its own there in the end.
Gone right off there.
It's already happened before it's really come into shot. So that's a shame. Casella here. Blakely Smith behind. Great shot out the side. This is what it looks like into turn 1 at Doohan Corner.
Slightly less lean angles there, as you can see by the horizon from the onboard shot in these conditions, and you can see a bit of spray, and that's how treacherous it is on the lap of Phillip Island in these kind of conditions. If you can keep it upright, that's the first aim, and then go as quick as you can, but it depends what feedback you get from the bike as to how confident you feel to push it hard too.
Great shot through the left-hand sweeper into Honda Corner. The weight transfers back to the front.
You can see the front fork there not bottoming out in those conditions, not braking nearly as hard as you can in the dry, where the forks basically bottom out into that very hard braking Honda Corner.
This is Siberia. Never seems to end. Then you can let it rip here on the exit. Looks to be drying out just a little bit as well.
Yeah, the water's going off the surface online, where the track's actually still wet, but there's no actual water laying on top of the stones and the tarmac. So it's obviously got a bit better traction, get a bit more heat into the tyres, which lets you push that little bit harder, but we're talking very fine increments here.
And if you go a little bit too far on the increment increase, you do what Dylan Maven did and a few of the others have.
Yeah, exactly, and again, that's a problem if you're trying to pass guys, you've got to go off that slightly drier line or less wet, whichever way you want to look at it, and get into the slipperier conditions, but you've still got to maintain more speed to go past the competitor. So it's sort of a bit of a catch-22 situation. So that's when you just put your heart in your mouth and have a go.
Back onto the Gardner Straight, and that's a lap at Phillip Island. And if you thought we were going fast with Kristen Casella, Blakely Smith was going faster.
Used that draft, got a good drive in these conditions onto the straight, and yeah, picked the draft and picked him off down at the end into turn 1, doing corner, and pulling a bit of a gap.
Got to be a little bit of a put-off, though, with that plastic tarp he's got wearing. He's got flapping around.
That's the other thing that you can change in the wet conditions. Most riders don't do it, as you can see there, but some riders will wear a plastic cover over their leathers, mainly the upper body, because a lot of the suits are vented, which has got all perforated holes through the leather for cooling, because it gets quite hot on a hot day. Kev Curtin there, but it does put off other riders when it's flapping around. Sometimes they break apart and really annoy the rider himself.
Well, no annoyance here. Aaron Gobert is flying out in front. He's got a margin of about 6 seconds over Kev Curtin. And have a look at this, he's just waving to everyone. He's under the control. He's got this one really in the bag, just needs to bring it home on this last lap.
Yeah, just got to maintain concentration under these conditions. He knows he's got a good gap, but the problem is if you slow down a bit much, you can see the shiny line coming off where his tyres go, and that means it's probably the slipperiest it can possibly be on the lap. So yeah, just keeping everything inch perfect, and he's done that so far on the approach to Lukey. Can he do it for the rest of the lap? I suspect so. Very lot of experience for Gobert.
Well, they don't give bonus points for winning by bigger margins, but he's going to do it this time around. So this is a nice way to come back to racing in Australia for the second straight season in Super Sport. And it's a privateer Yamaha that is going to put one over the factory bikes. And Aaron Gobert off the final turn. Damp conditions haven't affected him. He's going to bring it home and win the second race in the opening round of the QBE Australian Super Sport Championship. Gobert to the line, has done it in style. He takes race 2 at Phillip Island. Big margin back to Kev Curtin. The factory Yamaha, there he is in second spot. And about an equal distance from first to second is from second here to third. Blakely Smith, great ride. The Suzuki is third. Mitchell Carr fourth. And Kristen Casella in fifth. So Aaron Gobert takes the win, 6.8 seconds clear of Kev Curtin on board the Yamaha. Blakely Smith, a great ride to third on the Suzuki. And then it's the Triumph pair, Mitchell Carr and Kristen Casella.
Aaron, 4th place yesterday, first today. Feels good?
Yeah, definitely. You know, yesterday I sat back a little while there and watched the race, and I thought, you know, last lap I'll have a charge, and unfortunately didn't work out, and I finished 4th. And today I woke up early, angry, ready for a win, and it started raining, and it's a great equaliser. So it was awesome to run away with the wind then, and looking forward to, you know, I got Yamaha, Graves Yamaha from the States helping me out, Shock Treatment, all these guys throwing in, Alpine Star, Bell Helmets, Dyno Jet, you know, there's so many, Galfa, Hot Bodies, all these people are contributing. You know, I've been an AMA rider for a long time now, and to come back to Australia and start winning again, it's awesome.
The track, the conditions suit the bike?
Yeah, you know, yesterday I felt as if I had the best tyre, and my bike setup was the best on worn tyres, and you know, when it rained then it proved it in turn 1. I went around the outside of 3 or 4 of them and just went from there. You know, I didn't even look back. I actually slowed down a little while just to cool the tyre down because I had so much grip. So yeah, the Yamaha R6, you know, what can you say? It's probably the best bike out there, and in the rain it proves that it's definitely one of the top guns.
Off to Simmons Plains next. What's on there?
Well, believe it or not, this is one of my worst tracks, so we'll see. Can't talk it up yet. We'll go down there and we'll start practicing and we'll qualify, and we'll just play it as it goes.
A race win the first round. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Kev, second podium for the weekend, 2 2s in the 2 races. Happy?
Yeah, I'm stoked. You know, like wet races are always a lottery. You know, if you can pick up any position, it's always good. But you know, first, second, or third's even better. But you know, I'm stoked with 2 seconds, and I might have got the round win, and we're not too sure just yet. But yeah, it's all credit going to Yamaha and, you know, all the team. The boys did a great job this weekend. You know, they had to change a couple of bikes completely around back to front overnight, but it all paid off. So yeah, I'm ecstatic.
How'd the Yamaha handle the wet conditions?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we didn't have quite. I think I didn't have as good as rear grip as what Gowie had. But when I seen him putting his head down, having a real good go, I was getting high sides after high sides, and I was saving them all luckily. And I just let him go then, and I looked at my board and I was +8 in front of the guys behind me, so I thought that's going to be, that'll be the race, so I'll be happy with that.
Mate, it's a good way to start the season. 2 podiums and possible leadership.
Yep, that's great. Thanks very much.
7th yesterday and a podium today. That's a good way to start the weekend.
Yeah, no, it was a great weekend. I had a bit of trouble on Thursday in practice. The Suzuki didn't actually want to go, so I was on the Yamaha, and then went back out on Friday on the Suzuki and started testing. It was all really good, and then race 1 yesterday, actually did some really good times. I did a personal best by 1.2 seconds in the race, so it was a good race.
How did you handle the wet conditions?
Wet conditions, I'm sort of used to it because I've done a few races in the wet. Last year GP was in the wet and I went quite well, so when it was wet I actually didn't even go out in warm-up because I was expecting to just keep it easy really and go out in the race and just do what I could, and so that was a really good way to finish actually, because it's my first race and last race in Australia for this year. I'll be going to Spain in 3 weeks, heading over there racing Moto 2, so can't wait to get on that.
Congratulations, well ridden today.
Thank you.
So a round win takes Aaron Gobert to the top of the championship after round 1. 2 points clear of Kev Curtin. Brodie Waters on the Suzuki in 3rd from Mitchell Carr. Then it's Blake Lee Smith, Kristen Casella, Chaz Hearn and Andy Lawson rounding out the top 8.
Aaron Gobert head the points table after week 1.
Yeah, what a surprise. We didn't think a 4-1 would do it for us, but looks like we're in the lead. So going down the Tassie now, it's going to be a battle to stay in front, not catch up, and looking forward to it, and it's pretty exciting, really.
It's a good way to start the year, isn't it? To lead points early are always in the bag is good, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I've been working hard on Gobert Motorsports as a brand and getting the bike working right. And, you know, with Yamaha and YRD and Ian Irving helped me out, we've successfully accomplished what we're out to do, and that's win. So this is only round 1. We've got a long way to go, and I do believe this is my worst track, so we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Hey, mate, good luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, the final race of the QBE Supersport Championship is now finished. So all we've got left to find out is who will lead the field after the final race of the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship. Now, as we go to the break, we asked Australia's best racers what they like so much about Phillip Island.
It's a real thrill when you do a good lap time around Phillip Island. Your speed's just something you never get used to, and every time you come here it really gives you a buzz. Phillip Island's a great track. It's a world famous track. It's a fast track, a great place, and weather can always be tricky down here.
It's fast and flying and really makes you think.
It's always difficult to come here because it's unlike sort of any other racetrack that we go to, but it's always good. It's always a good atmosphere. It's just a bit of a problem. We always seem to have the dicey weather.
Phillip Island for me is the fastest circuit in Australia, and you know it's my closest circuit to my home. So, and it has brought me the most success. So it's definitely my most favourite circuit in Australia.
QBE presents the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship, proudly brought to you by Motul and International Entertainment Group.